Hello, I'm Bobby Luisi, former mob boss in Boston, Massachusetts. Um, I'm doing a short clip here today with Emily Sweeney about our book that we're going to be writing right now, Blood Rivalry. And I'll be introducing her in a second on the show.
Hi, I'm Emily Sweeney. I'm a reporter at the Boston Globe, and I'm also the author of 2 organized crime books. I'm working on a book right now with Bobby Luisi, and it's been an amazing project so far. I've learned so much, and
Emily, it's great talking with you today. I mean, I know this is going to be a different type of journey for you. You already have 2 mob books under your belt, and this is a little different. You know, a lot of this involves my family. The shooting at the 99 restaurant on November 6th in 1995, where I lost 4 family members. This book's probably going to release a lot of secrets about the war in the 90s up here in Boston.
yeah, I mean, you know, stuff that a lot of people don't know, and you're also clearing up a lot of myths, and how close you are to a really famous incident like the 99 massacre. It's both heartbreaking and it's been enlightening, like hearing what you went through.
Yeah, it is an amazing story. I am amazed myself that I went through that. But through that, I came out on top in Boston. I joined the Philadelphia family. As you know, my boss was Joey Molino, which is a well-known figure in organized crime today. He's probably up there with the new John Gotti. He probably is the new John Gotti. Joey's a very charismatic guy in the papers and the news all the time. We'll be talking a lot about Philly too in the book and what's going to happen. I know I gave you some notes that I wrote. I know you have them, and there's several murders in there.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, there's quite a few murders in there. I mean, everything that happened in the 90s is going to unravel in this book.
Yeah, I feel like it hasn't been covered that well. A lot of the stories have been like retold and retold, the same ones.
Yes.
You gave a lot of backstory and context to some high-profile hits that happened, and it's been a learning experience for me.
See, a lot of these guys that are writing these books, some may be reporters or just investigate, or maybe they knew a guy, but this is coming right from the inside. I came up in this war in the 90s. It was a vicious war. I lost 4 family members in the 99 restaurant on that day. It's just going to be so in-depth. And probably going to speak a lot about the relationship that I had with my father. That's going to be something, there's going to be a lot of secrets revealed in that people don't know coming out. And I don't know, I just think it's going to be a great project.
I agree. It's been so far. And, can you talk a little bit about your father and who he was?
Yeah, sure.
For people who don't know.
Yeah, well, my father was mobbed up since he was a kid with the Patriarca family. Out of Boston. We grew up in the North End. I was born in the North End myself. My father was a resident there his whole life before he got killed in the 99. In 95, from an early age, my father hooked up with these guys. My father was a big, tough guy, enforcer for them, always around them. When I was a young kid, I was around them myself. Actually, at 16 years old, I moved back in the North End with my father because my mother and father got divorced. She moved to East Boston and married Sando, who was also in the life, bookmaker, loan shark, card clubs, social clubs, but a good man, also worked too, Sando. God bless him. And he's still alive. Praise God, and my mom. But my father was a strange individual. He was really mob oriented. He was the patriarch of our family. And he kind of ran us like a mob family. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me to be around these gangsters. And he was a hoodlum, always in and out of trouble. Bad guy, well respected in the neighborhood. The Luisi family was well respected in the neighborhood and the other neighborhoods. We had a big family at that time.
Mhm.
We were all coming up in the 90s. When I came back in 1990, we were all coming up. There was a little friction between my father and I can't deny that. Things started getting bad between us.
Mhm.
He had different ideas of what he wanted to do with the family. I had different ideas, and we were separate but together because he was my father. And but I went my way, he went his way. He had his faction, I had my own faction, and I was making a lot of money.
Yeah, how much were you making?
Well, I came back in 90. I'd say I became a millionaire again by 93. A lot of it came from the drugs.
Mhm.
I took that drug money, I put it in my loan shark business, my sports business. I think at one point I was collecting 7,000-8,000 a week just on my loan shark money.
Mhm.
The drugs could have been another 20,000-40,000 a week. So there was a big account coming in for several years.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of money there made. And my father saw that and he didn't like that. He really didn't. He wasn't doing as well as I was doing, but he was doing okay. My father was very controlling over the whole family.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't believe that he just couldn't control me. But I had business experience. I was a developer. I've had restaurants. I've done different things. So I put that business experience on the street, and I ran my little family and crew, like a corporation. And he couldn't understand how I kept getting ahead and putting these things together. Because living on the street, being a street guy, being what goes on Nostra, you have to be business minded. You can't just be a tough guy and a killer. Tough guys and killers don't have money. You got to be an all around guy. You got to be able to do everything. And that's how I accomplished everything that I earned, I would say, in the street, in the position that I ended up in, being a major boss in Boston, running Little Italy.
Yeah.
That was a big accomplishment for me.
And then doing it in 2 cities,
Yes, I went down. There was a problem with their Patriarcha faction that was up there. I actually got in a beef with one of the capos. And I knew I wasn't going to get made in the family because that beef got a little vicious. And he saw that, and they knew I wanted the brass ring. So there was no way they were going to make me in the family. And I went down to Philadelphia. I met Ralph Natali, Joey Molino, Giorgio Rigesi, all those guys. A few months, they proposed me. They took me in. I've never lived in Philly. I used to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
All the time. And eventually they made me a capo, and I straightened out my whole crew in Boston. Everybody that's in Boston, even till today, there's still a Philadelphia crew up here, but they're all Boston guys, not Philly guys.
Gotcha.
And I wanted just to clear that up with everybody because they call themselves Philly guys. I don't know why. Okay. It was a Luisi family, but now, now they're Philly guys, which is okay. I got nothing to do with the mob anymore. Any more questions about that?
Yeah, well, maybe you can talk a little bit about, the 99. I mean, that was such like a turning point, obviously, for you personally, and like for the city of Boston. I know, people still talk about it to this day, for something to happen like that in broad daylight in a packed restaurant at lunchtime, and obviously you knew all the players involved, you were related to them.
Yeah, well, what happened? Vinny Perez and Damian Clemente got a fight with Joey Felito in the North End. Now, Joey Felito was from Method, but he was my brother Roman's first cousin. Roman and I have different mothers. So they gave a pretty vicious beating on camera in the Victoria restaurant. I got a phone call from Vinny. Actually, Vinny Perez, I started the drug business with him when I came back in 1990. He was already on the street working. Great kid. Great friend of the family, too, believe it or not. And they had concern because my brother Roman was a killer. Everybody knew that. And so they called me, asking me what to do. I told them, they got to defend themselves. I had a conversation with my father that night that wasn't good, the night before he died. I kind of wish I didn't have that type of conversation with him. But after he hung up the phone, my cousin Ricky called me, Sarah. He was one of the victims in the 99 he lived. and said, Bobby, before this gets crazy, let's settle this.
Mhm.
So I called Vinny to tell Damien, for him and Damien to stay out of the North End. So they decided to go to the 99 restaurant. They're in the 99 restaurant, and who shows up? My family. Big Bob, my brother Roman. So they call me on the phone. They said, what should we do? I said, well, there's 200 people in there. Pay the bill, go out the side door. Did they say you? No, just go out the side door.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby. But while Vinny was calling me, Damien was calling his father, Cleo. Cleo came down with a gun. An argument pursued at the table. He shot my brother Roman first. When Damien come over, he shot my father. And Cleo just opened his gun up and started shooting. Killed my cousin Anthony Sarro. Ricky Sarro got injured. Anthony Pelosi got killed. So we lost 4 people that day in my family. Yeah, it was a terrible thing for the Luisi family.
Yeah.
It really was.
Seriously.
You know. But myself, it was sad what happened. You know, I love my brother. Anthony Sarro was one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. I loved Anthony.
Yeah.
More than most of them. And it was just sad. And thank God Ricky survived. It was just a sad day for the family. There's a lot more involved in this, but it's going in the book.
Oh, I know. I know.
And I don't want to say too much more about it. But it's a little more complicated than that.
Understood. Yeah, very complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Because, you know, I know we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, as far as the, you know, after the 99, I mean, obviously that was a turning point for you, right? I mean, didn't you?
Well, I really don't think it was a turning point.
Okay.
I already had my crew.
Yeah.
You know, it was already established. Supposedly a proposed guy in the Petriacca family at that time. And everything was good. You know, as soon as Ricky healed up, I took Ricky back out on the street with us. And I started for my father's business, whatever I could find that he had, whatever Ricky could tell me, I started incorporating that into my family, my crew, my vision.
Yeah.
And Ricky got better. He helped me out with a lot of things, you know, and then we just went on from there. It was everyday business. Gotcha.
I mean, so pretty much, I mean, would you say like your power base kind of expanded a bit during this time? I mean,
a little bit. You know, at that time, you know, I had a big Irish crew too. That was around me, that helped me out. We made money together. And as soon as that happened in the 99, they came right to me. If you need anything, Bobby, we're here. A lot of people stepped up when that went down. You know, and
you know, the 90s in general, I feel like we're kind of a wild time in organized crime history.
Well, yeah, we were
a lot of rival factions, and you lived through it.
Yeah. There were 3 rival factions against our faction, against the Celebrity faction.
Yeah.
There was the Champi Romano faction, the Gigi Portella faction, and the Paulo Collegiero faction. And maybe some other people we didn't know out there.
Yeah.
But praise God, we came up on top on that. You know, we lost a lot of men on both sides. And I'll tell you, most of those guys are home now.
Yeah.
You know, I live in Boston. They're all around, but we just don't communicate or talk.
Okay.
That was over 20 years ago. And they're doing their things. You know, when I came home, I sent the message to them out then. I don't want to know nothing. I'm not involved no more. Leave me alone. I'll leave you alone.
Gotcha. Yeah. I wonder if a lot of guys did that too, you know, when they came back or, you know.
Well, not really many came back.
True.
There was me and Johnny Monorano.
Okay. Yeah.
Kevin Weeks came back. I don't know what happened to him. You don't hear about him anymore. You know, but I'll tell you, it's hard, you know, going through 14 years of prison, not being with your family. You know, I risked everything to come back to be with my children and my family. You know, but the way the mob's structured today and the problems they're having, I really don't have any problems with them.
Yeah.
So I leave them alone. They leave me alone. I left probably $1 million on the street. I don't pursue it. I don't want it. It was blood money. And right now, you know, I got my Bobby Luisi show on YouTube.
Yeah, which is a great show,
Yeah.
I gotta say.
We're writing this book. I have another book up on Amazon, and let's just pray this is going to be a good book.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it is with you, right?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's gonna be amazing. And it's gonna be really like do a tell-all of a chapter of organized crime history that I feel like hasn't been covered enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, everybody, you hear tons about Whitey Bulger, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
you
I
know.
master about them all the time, all the
So,
time, yeah.
you know, there's a lot more going on.
Mhm.
And you know, you have like the real deal, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you were there and
Mhm.
and you know the guys personally who were there.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, you're gonna have people, you know, I'm gonna be interviewing people that normally I wouldn't have access to.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good.
Well, there's a lot of former guys in the life, capos,
Yeah.
soldiers that are around me still.
Yeah.
And they all volunteered to
Yeah.
pitch into the book.
No, it's gonna be great.
So I think the book's gonna be great,
No doubt.
you know,
No doubt.
and I want to thank you so much for coming on here today and speaking with me.
No, thank you for having me. This is
You know,
great.
I mean, I'm really honored to do this book with you, Emily.
Same.
You know, your knowledge, being at the Boston Globe all these years, and you're an investigative reporter and
Mhm.
everything you've done, and you've watched this progress.
Yeah.
You watched this progress over the last 15, 20 years,
Mhm.
and that's very important.
Mhm.
I was writing a book with another guy, but he was in California,
Okay.
New York guy. I don't want to say his name, you know, but he's not familiar. You know, when
Yeah.
I tell you something, most of the time you have the information already.
No, I do.
I know you
I
do.
usually do. Yeah.
But that's great for me. So
Yeah.
filling in the stories.
Yeah. You know, I was, you know, born and raised in Boston. So,
Yeah.
you know, and,
Mhm.
and my family was here, like, you know, in the West End,
Yeah.
you know, before it got torn down.
Mhm.
So, you know, I got
Yeah.
like history here. So
Yeah.
it's going to be good.
People don't know about the West End. There's one house left there.
I know.
I think Skinny still has a house
Yeah.
there. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he left. He wouldn't sell it. I mean, his childhood home. God bless him.
Mhm.
But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I wanted everybody to meet Emily today, tell you about the project. We were hoping to have the book out by the first of this year.
Yeah.
You know, but with COVID and everything that's going on, it's just been tough.
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that.
But
Yeah.
it'll, you know, I'm thinking 2022 for sure.
Yeah,
Without a doubt.
we're hoping, and as soon as it's out, everybody will know.
Definitely.
Yeah. And thank you for watching today. And thank you for being on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.